can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walk through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like $100,000.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs. We have the founders of Big League Chew, the Orlando Magic, P90X, RX Bar, and many more, and how they overcome big challenges in life and business. This episode is brought to you by Rise 25, which I co-founded with my business, John Corcoran. Rise 25's mission is to connect with you to your best referral partners and customers. We do it in 3 ways. We have Done For You Media. We help your company completely run and launch your own podcast, distributed across all 11 different channels, dedicated blog posts, social media, so you can show up and talk. We do everything else. We've been working with podcasters since 2009, and I personally credit Chris. Podcasting is the single best thing I've done for my business and my life. I can get connected with people like you, founders, CEOs of P90X, Atari, amazing companies. Besides making best friends and finding my business partner, it's led to numerous relationships, countless customers and referral partners. We also have a Done For You lead generation where we reach out manually to your ideal referral partners and customers. This is not paid traffic, by the way. And we have Done For You VIP events where we bring together top-level entrepreneurs in a room where they can connect and collaborate. Sometimes we've even been seen dressing up as Elvis. But you have to show up to see it. If you have questions about any of those, go to rise25.com or contact us at support@rise25.com. Chris, I'm excited. Today, I'm especially excited. We have Chris Gronkowski, founder of Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is a vacuum-insulated stainless steel protein shaker that holds ice for over 30 hours. If you've ever put down your shaker and it's put rings of water, that does not happen with the double insulation. Also, everything's melted by the time you get to it. That also doesn't happen. This is the chosen ice shaker bottle to people like Alex Rodriguez, Mark Cuban, Marshawn Lynch. Of course, all the Gronk brothers, they must represent Glenn, Dan, Gordie, and Rob, who just won another Super Bowl with the Patriots, and 100% credits that to the ice shaker, right? Chris is, that has not been verified. Chris is a former NFL fullback himself who played for the Dallas Cowboys, Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts. He played college football, as you can see over his head, with the University of Arizona. And he was on the hit TV show Shark Tank and received an investment from Mark Cuban, Alex Rodriguez, for $150,000 for 15% of the company. Just a year after they were featured, Ice Shaker grew from just one product to over 80 SKUs, and we'll talk about those. And they're in over 3,500 GNC locations and UFC gyms across the USA, probably more at this point. And he also helps run everything decorated with his wife. And they have over 20,000 5-star reviews on their Etsy shops. And I think I was reading, she just got sick of, changing jobs when you were moved to the team. She's like, I can't do this. I need to do something from home. So I want to get back. We'll talk about your childhood growing up with 5 kids, how your mom fed you all, what the dinner table was like. But talk about your wife for a second, at the time your girlfriend, that this everything decorated, how that started.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it was 4 teams. Ended up going to the Chargers for camp as well in my 4th NFL season. So really coming out of college, then playing for 4 separate NFL teams, 5 moves, 5 years. On year 3, she had enough. So
this is like the non-glamorous stuff that people talk about, right? Or don't talk about.
Absolutely. And third job, 3 years. She was done with it. She wanted to find a way to work from home. So started hand painting wine glasses. I came home one day from practice.
Wine glasses?
Yeah, just hand painting them, taking about 30 minutes to do each one. And, I looked at it and said, hey, that's cool that she has a hobby, but, it's really not going to bring any money in. Well, they ended up starting to sell. They started selling fast to the point where she couldn't keep up because they were taking so long. So immediately she said, hey, I have to find a way to make these faster. So it ended up turning into a vinyl cutter and doing that instead of hand painting it. And those sold even better. She was able to make them faster. And soon enough, she was selling them so fast that she couldn't keep up. So really saw this opportunity in the market for these personalized gifts. And when I got out of the NFL, I got hurt, I came back, started helping her. We really started to research it, look into it, and realize that we had this huge opportunity in front of us to grow this company.
Yeah, most people I don't think realize that Everything Decorated precedes the Ice Shaker, and some of the ideas from that came from Everything Decorated because those were a popular item, right?
Absolutely. A lot of the ideas came from it pretty much stemmed from that. It came from really a Christmas with Yeti. Yeti came in and everyone wanted the Yeti. Everyone's coming into our shop. We were selling hundreds of Yetis a day. We're ordering 600 at a time from Yeti, wow. $25 worth of Yetis. And
you're customizing them.
Customizing them, selling them for over $100 a piece.
Wow.
After customizing them. And then we're selling them, 600 of them, we're selling them in 3 days. And just begging for more, driving to every store looking for them, and realize that, this is a cool product. It's something people want. And that turned into me actually starting to use the product myself, liking it, bringing it to work, but I couldn't bring it to the gym. And that's how the Ice Shaker was born, out of my love for the insulated cup and just not being able to bring that everywhere or knocking it over at work and it's spilling. So
there's always a stronger, smarter woman behind the man that makes everything happen, right? Yeah. So why did she start with wine glasses? It seems kind of random.
Yeah, it was. She had one. She had one as a gift. That was hand painted from. I believe it was from her aunt. So she saw just the opportunity. She thought it was something cool that she liked doing, and she went for it. So ended up turning into something completely different. We ended up really making most of the money on laser engraving. So saw an opportunity to really excel into more products, a lot more products with more precision and faster turnaround times with commercial laser engravers, and really went from vinyl cutters and doing more like cups and stuff like that to more of flasks and knives and gift boxes and cutting boards, all these kind of cool items that we could now laser engrave instead, that the big companies couldn't offer either. Something like the Things Remembered, they couldn't do that because you have to vent it. I mean, there's smoke caused from the burning, so you have to vent it. And our turnaround times were also what really separated us, because we were doing everything same day for the most part, which was unheard of. The big companies.
Did you, for the laser stuff, engraving, did you do that in-house, or did you have like a co-packer or some kind of facility helping you?
So we did it all of it ourselves.
Wow.
We were bringing in product. It was good that we were in the Dallas-Fort Worth area because most of the distributors were here, so we're getting most of the product from them. But we realized quickly that at the volume we were doing, we couldn't depend on these distributors in the U.S. at all. I mean, we were selling through their products so fast that we were running out of our best sellers, and that really led into us starting to manufacture and bring in our own products, which also really springboarded us to a whole new level. Really protected us from people copying us. Really got our name out there.
Yeah, it's huge protection.
Absolutely. And protected us from the distributors of running out of stock. I mean, they were running out of stock. It was killing our business. Our best sellers were out for months at a time. So we were now in control of that entire process, which other companies that were trying to do what we were doing couldn't do it. So really took us to a whole new level. Also, just learning how to bring your own product, how to manufacture it, how to get it made, and scheduling all of that was something that was huge and something I learned before Ice Shaker that really helped with Ice Shaker.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it's not a good problem to have because you work so hard to get the word out and then you sell out of these things. How did you get so much traction? Was it reviews on Etsy? Where were all the people coming from? It's not easy to drive traffic to site. I'm sure like NFL players aren't buying vinyl wine glasses. Maybe they are. Maybe their wives are. But I mean,
no, it is something people ask, and I get this all the time where, hey, it must have been so easy to grow Ice Shaker, and it wasn't at all. But a lot of people thought because of the name, I just put out a couple social media posts and all of a sudden it blew up.
Yeah, it may give a spike, but it's not going to be a constant, steady flow.
Absolutely, but when I always combat that too, as well as I never even told anyone about Everything Decorated for the 5 years that I helped grow it, and still continues on today. I really don't post much about it. Our traction all came from first making an awesome product, fast turnaround time, ton of referrals, but the real key was getting to the top page of the Etsy algorithm, and that's what figure out. So when I went on there, we knew we had similar products to other people on there, and I had to figure out why that person was on the front page and why we weren't. So once I figured that out,
so we could reverse engineer how to get to that front page.
And it really just came down to, you couldn't look online and search for it. I really just looked at what other people were doing that were on the front page, and I said, hey, why is this person under this term? And I searched for the next term. Why is this one under that term? And then I found and copied similar methods that they were using to get there. And then we really came to another level when we started opening up multiple shops. We realized that the algorithm always only allowed for one product to be on the front page for any search term. So we realized that we opened up multiple shops, which at the time was something that was allowed through Etsy's policies.
Now they don't allow.
Which they now no longer allow. But at that time they did. And so we did. We opened up, we had 4 or 5 shops. It gave us 4 or 5 top spots on their algorithm for all the highest terms. So we were able to then look like 5 different shops competing, but eat up the top 5 rankings.
Very smart.
Any large search term that really just shot us to a whole nother level.
Chris, what were popular products on Everything Decorated that surprised you? So you had the wine glasses, the shaker bottles at the time. What else was popular?
So we came in and really it was research and what other people were selling, what other people were doing well with. So we brought in everything. We brought in anything that had a good margin that we could get our hands on that was good quality. So we started bringing in pocket knives, became one of our best sellers, brought in 15 different varieties.
And you're customizing them.
Customizing.
So it adds a little layer of protection because probably not everyone is doing that.
Absolutely, yeah. Anyone could bring in a pocket knife, but they have it personalized with whatever you want written on it, and then have it actually engraved and shipped the same day was something that people have never seen before. We still to this day get emails every day saying, hey, I customized it, but you guys forgot to customize it and already shipped it. We're like, no, we actually...
They can't believe it happened so quickly.
And we already shipped it as well. And what that does is just, it spreads the word so fast, because when you give such good service and people are shocked by it, they go and tell everyone.
Well, totally. I mean, like a wedding or something, a wedding party, they probably are scrambling last minute for these things sometimes, and they think it can't happen. That's probably one example. I don't know if you found like certain niches tend to be repeat buyers, like certain markets or no?
Absolutely, yeah. So the wedding industry was, and that's what we targeted right off the bat, because they were buying multiple items. So they're buying, if a woman was buying for her bridesmaid, she was buying 8 of them. On average, it was probably about 5. So she was buying 5, and then there's the mother of the groom, maid of honor, all that. And then if they liked the gifts, they came back and bought for the groomsmen as well. So from that, then they would give it out to 10 to 20 people who then liked the product as well, and they would get married, and it would just be a cycle that would just happen over and over again, or we get them coming back for birthdays or holidays or events.
Yeah. So ice shaker, you're in the gym, making these rings are everywhere, it spills. You decide you want to do this because you're crazy, because you want to do like 30 prototypes of something. So talk about the process of creating it, because I know you went through over 20 prototypes. People think, you just ordered it and slapped, an ice shaker logo on it, but that's not the case.
Yeah, it was rough. And really, the idea came about, and with everything decorated, like I was saying before, it was something that we did really well with. We still do. I mean, it's still amazing company for us. It continues to grow every single year still, but really wasn't my passion. So when I came across this, it was kind of my passion, going to the gym, working out, and all that. So I really wanted to move forward with it. So but the prototype, it was rough because we were bringing in containers already of other products, but everything we had made in the past was already made before. So the mold fees, everything was already done. We were kind of just putting our own brand on products that they were already good at making. Well, now we came in with something that has never been made before. It's a little bit different than anything that's been done. So we had to pay for all the mold fees. We had to pay for all the testing. And then when we got the product, what's that?
It's a risk,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And so went through multiple prototypes and different lids, had to test everything to make sure that it was perfect before we ordered. And then even at that, our first shipment was a disaster.
Why?
So we finally got it in. We decided on the seal we wanted, the pop top we wanted, the bottle, everything we thought was perfect. And we get the first shipment in, And at that time, we never had issues with shipments. We were using the guy we ended up going with. We brought in probably 10 containers before that of other products, never had issues with any of the products. And so we get these bottles, we start shaking them. And after the third bottle, I hold it upside down. It's completely closed, completely sealed, and it's just dripping out.
Wow.
And at that point, we had to shake hundreds of bottles. Had to make a decision where we couldn't sell any of them until we changed out the lids on every single bottle because for whatever reason, the pop top wasn't sealing correctly on the bottles. So you couldn't tell by looking at it. You couldn't tell by snapping it closed. There's no way you could tell without filling it up and actually shaking it.
Good thing you actually tested a bunch of them. Or so, customers would be just crazy, leaving horrible reviews.
It would have just been the end of the product before the company, before really it even started. So it was something we had to do, and every single lid on the 10,000 bottles that came in, we had to change out before we sent them out.
So what do you do at that point?
At that point, we called them.
Will they take them back? And
no, they decided that they would just send us all new lids for free.
That's nice.
They sent them all to us, and it was nice, except the fact that I sat upstairs in my house with my father-in-law, and we changed lids out for months at a time.
10,000. Yeah. So the new ones they sent worked.
Yeah, so they worked, and
did they say what happened? Like, why was the other one not sealing? It just a malfunction, and
for whatever reason, and it wasn't all of them, but it was too hard to tell which ones were and which ones weren't. But it was just the mold was incorrect, or for whatever reason, it just wasn't sealing correctly. And this was the first time we ran into that problem. All the samples that were sent, we never had this issue, and then the product shows up, and all of a sudden there's this new issue with with a large majority of the product.
What's another? That's crazy. It's a good thing you tested it. What's another horror story that most people don't realize when producing a physical product?
Oh man, it's really, when you're dealing with mass production, it always has to be inspected. So it came again. We ran into it another time. So we after this first time we learned our lesson, we started bringing in outside companies to check all the inventory before it shipped, and we thought we were golden. It was never going to happen to us again. So they go through all the tests, rust tests. They test the material. They shake the bottle, test the pop tops, test the durability. They do everything, and they also do a test where they put tape on the bottle and they pull the tape off to see if the logo or the printing or whatever is going to stick to it. So they do all these tests. Everything passes. We get the product sent to us, and a couple weeks into it, we start getting a couple emails about the logo smearing and the logo coming off. And I'm sitting there like, I have a bunch of bottles. I start testing 50, 60 bottles at my house and all different batches, and I can't get it to come off. So, I kind of dismiss it. I think, maybe they're using some kind of harsh soap, whatever it is. Well, it ends up being this repeat problem where after a couple weeks, the paint was just becoming unstable, and it was just pretty much rubbing off. It could be with water, whatever it was. And there was, again, another thing where we couldn't test it unless we ran it through a long process. 3 weeks
of dishwashing or something.
And it wasn't all of them. It was a small percentage of the bottles, but after people just used them for a while, it would come off. So another issue that we ran into where we just had to refund. We had to send new product out, a lot of product. And another thing that you learn as a first year company, you're just trying everything you can do to really make profit and get your name out there, and then you're losing all this money to replacement bottles that to keep your name and to keep your reviews and to really. It's the right thing to do is to replace it. So that's what we have to do. So
how do you solve that? Do you have them change the paint? Do you do engraving so nothing rubs off? I mean,
let me show you how you solve it.
Yeah.
This is now the third edition. Our logo is actually embossed onto it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see, but when you have it in person, you can see it well. And then our logo at the bottom is now laser engraved. The actual bottom of the cup is stamped. So there's not one.
Like, I'm not having anything rub off this bottle.
There's absolutely no paint on our bottle anymore at this point because we didn't want to ever run into that issue again. And it gives it a more of a premium feel as well, and we're glad we made this change.
Totally
but another lesson that we learned, and something that it's just you live and you learn with a new company, and it takes money to make money, and you're going to make mistakes. And you have to be a good problem solver as an entrepreneur, and that's really, I think, is the best asset that an entrepreneur has.
So I want to pick up, I want to talk about pre-Shark Tank and leading up to Shark Tank and after Shark Tank, but I want to reverse back and go back originally to growing up. Must have been a crazy household. I don't know how your mom did. I know you have 2 kids, right? And you can't imagine having more than that. Imagine having 5 boys. It's insane. So talk about some of the insane things that went on as a kid.
Yeah, so I always tell people we had no furniture in our house. We had a couch, and that was it. There was no coffee table. There's no end tables. There was nothing but a couch and a TV because everything was destroyed in our I mean, it turned into a weapon, or we threw each other through it. And so
it's like WWE. I picture one person just slamming the other person through a coffee table
every day, and every day ended in a fight. And we were that house where all of our friends came over to our house, so we never went to other people's houses for the most part. We would all bring 1 or 2 friends or a bunch of friends back, and it was just everyone was always at our house playing a sport or competing or doing something at our house. So we were that neighborhood house, and she already had, my mom had 5 kids to deal with, and then there was
double that, triple that, yeah.
And they're all the time, so just absolute mayhem, and every day ended in a fight for sure. But it bred us. It bred us to be competitive, and our parents never gave us anything unless we earned it. So we had a paper route as boys. I was working when I was 12 years old, delivering papers. All 5 of us did, so we had to learn how to be, a team, work together, and have responsibility. And started working for my dad when I was 15, and it was the same thing.
What did he do?
So my dad, he was he started his own business. So he's going on about 30 years now selling fitness equipment. So he really showed us how to train. He brought in the equipment. Our whole basement was full of gym equipment. So something that really also helped us excel in sports, but also teach you discipline and hard work.
Your mom must be an amazing woman. How did she feed all of you? I mean, what did the dinner table look like?
So she wouldn't even allow us to eat out. So she made every meal. She made every breakfast. She made our lunches. She packed our lunch every single day.
Wow.
And we had, I like this story because we had once a month, if we all behaved for the whole month, we'd get to go to Denny's and get the $1.99 special at the time. And so that happened maybe once a year. We all behaved for the entire month. But we'd go there, it'd be like this huge celebration because we never ate out. She made everything for us. So, but it wasn't, we never really sat down to eat because by the time she finished making it, someone already ate half of it. So we were just always just constantly eating.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, it's really, really what it came down to. But everyone was so busy and had so much going on that we can never all just sit down at a time. My mom had this ginormous calendar, like those huge ones that you could buy. And she'd fill in every day of all the stuff that we had going on. And every single day it would be filled with different events for practices, picking us up from school. But I mean, some of us were on multiple teams at the same time for one sport. And so some days would have 2 or 3 practices just for one kid in the same day. So really a full-time job. And it was pretty impressive that she was able to manage it all.
So what is your favorite all-time meal? Like if it's your birthday, you get to choose what's for dinner. What do you have for me?
So she made this chicken souffle, and she won't give up the recipe. I don't know if she has it or not yet, but that was kind of our go-to meal. And then for me, she made an apple pie, homemade crust. So that was on point. But she made like a Jell-O cake for our birthdays. So it was an actual cake, and then you dump like the Jell-O into it, and then a little whipped cream on top. It
sounds amazing.
Good.
So fast forward a little bit, Arizona, right? You were there. I've heard when I did some research, some stories. You guys brothers lived in a house together there?
Okay. At our own house.
What was that like?
Called the Club G. Called the Club G. It was good. It was cool. It was right on campus. And the best part about it was that our oldest brother, Gordie, who was in the Angels organization at the time, they were based in Tempe, so about an hour away. And he decided that he was going to help us become better athletes by staying with us and training in Tucson.
You say it with a smile.
Which ended up, him turning into really just reliving his college days and being actually having some kind of money. We're actually able to do, more than most people are able to do. He just funded everything, so turned into some pretty good parties. Yeah.
There was something about slip and slide or something.
Yeah.
What was that?
So back in the day, so we had.
I'm picturing, Will Ferrell and
that's pretty much what it looked
movie,
like.
Yeah. When they're like, "Hey, do a beer bong," he's like, "I'm too busy. I got to go to what do you have? Target. I got to go to Home Depot." Right.
Home Depot. No, it was very similar. So we had a hot tub. So we got a hot tub put into the house. We put together a bunch of our poker money. At the time, you were able to play poker online, and we were pretty into online poker at the time, but we made decent money on it, and we chipped it all together, and we bought this hot tub. And so with that, we also we had this great idea one day where we should clean the floor during one of the parties because we spilled the keg all over the floor. So we started dumping soap on the floor, and that turned into, someone dove through it, and all of a sudden they slid, from the front door almost out the back door. But, that's a great idea.
It's a great idea. Only in the college house.
Yep. So we laced the floor with soap, and we started sliding from the front door out the back door, and then you jump into the hot tub.
I want to see a video of that. That's great. So, NFL. Talk about a career highlight. I know you played the Cowboys, the Colts, the Broncos. What were some highlights for you? I think I read, I'm in Chicago. I think your first game and touchdown was against the Bears.
Absolutely. That was, a great game. Ended up making the team, undrafted free agent, hadn't happened in over 10 years. Started the first game, but we still had a fullback on the team at the time. He ended up getting hurt in the first game. I took over the starting role. They let him go after that. So our first start was the second game of the year against the Bears, and going against Urlacher. I'm sitting there, Lance Briggs, two legends in the NFL. Totally. I'm shaking before the first play, knowing that I'm running ISO.
No, but seriously, talk about that for 1 second. You're shaking. I mean, what's the mindset that you're going in? Because I think I read somewhere, like Emmitt Smith said, a game of football was like getting into 30 car accidents because you're just getting killed when you go through that line. What are you thinking mentally?
At that time, at that age, man, you don't think about the collisions or the hits or the damage you're taking. I mean, you think that you're on top of the world, you're unbreakable, you're unstoppable. So for me, it was just, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to hit these guys as hard as I can. And that was really what I was trying to do. And when it came down to it, I realized that the guys that last, the Urlachers and the guys that play for 15 years, they last for so long because they're not running in there and throwing their head in there and their shoulders in there. They're just doing their job. They're filling the hole, getting the play over with. They're not taking the big hit, and they're playing smart. And so going against someone like Urlacher, I was expecting the big hit. The big hit didn't come. He just filled his hole, threw his shoulder in there, did his job, and got on to the next play. So really all that tension and just being so nervous, those were probably the easiest blocks of not the easiest blocks, but not the biggest hits. I mean, the biggest hits always came against the rookies that were trying to prove themselves.
Mm. So I imagine first touchdown is a highlight. What's another career highlight for you?
Man, yeah, the touchdown for sure. Playing against my brother when I was with the Broncos, I thought was, one of those memorable games.
Which brother?
So we went to New England. I played against Rob.
Okay.
And it was just a great game. I got special teams player of the week for that game. Down a couple balls on the 1 yard line, made a couple tackles, but it was just one of those games where we're just talking trash to each other the whole time. So every time I ran by the sideline, I could hear him just yelling stupid comments to me and just trying to get me going. So just
brothers know how to push the buttons. He probably knows all of your buttons to push.
Absolutely. And then it was, I never actually went against him, but it was just cool going against his teammates and having a great game against them.
Who are some of the people that you played with that maybe underrated players that just had amazing work ethics that you learned from?
One of the first guys, I thought was awesome was DeMarcus Ware. when I came in, I mean, he was one of the biggest names in the game, and coming in undrafted, free agent, Cowboys, all that, and really someone who would just sit down and actually talk to you and kind of let you know, you'll keep up the good work, you're doing this well, And his work ethic was insane. He even took me to do some workouts with him outside in the off season, and so just really cool for him to even offer that to me. But once I got there, man, it was absolute beatdown.
Yeah, what did it look like? What did the insane workouts look like?
We started off with 20 reps of cleans, which is a full body exercise, 225 pounds, 20 reps. Most people would do that and pretty much faint. And then that was just the very first start to the whole entire workout. I mean, we were throwing tires, we were doing everything. And by the time I was over, man, I can't believe I didn't throw up, to tell you the truth. But he walked through it. So his training was just at a whole new level.
Who else did you see like that? Because you see behind the scenes, some people just see game day. They watch it on TV. They see people perform. They don't realize the blood, sweat, and tears and training that goes into that one touchdown or that one run. So, take us behind the curtain. And, what are some of the things that people are doing to prepare mentally and physically?
Yeah, I mean, another guy that was like that, and definitely was Peyton Manning. I mean, he was the real deal. He was there before everyone. He was the last one to leave. He was the coach on the field. I mean, he knew everyone's responsibilities. So, I mean, a rookie came in, they'd ask him a question. He would know exactly what everyone was doing. And he didn't even need a coach. He was the coach. So everything everyone says about him was absolutely true. And even kind of his personality on TV is really how he is in person. And he is funny. There's times where he'd get on the actual mic of the airplanes on the way home from games and say, hey, this is your captain speaking, and people would think it's the actual airplane captain, and he'd just sit on there and tell jokes and really bond with the team. So it was definitely an awesome experience being a teammate of his.
Any coaches that stuck out as mentors throughout your career, whether at Arizona or one of the NFL teams?
Man, I thought I had really good coaches throughout my whole life, really. All my NFL coaches were awesome. I mean, there wasn't a coach that I think they were a little easy on me. We had Wade Phillips, who was absolutely awesome, almost too nice of a guy. To go on to Caldwell, who was the same thing. I mean, just awesome guy, great to play for. Everyone loved playing for him. And then I had John Fox, so I think I was pretty blessed with all three of my coaches throughout my NFL career, and they all coached with a similar style. I mean, they were all your friend. They're all good guys. They all motivated you, helped you out. So I think I was lucky with the coaches that I had.
Yeah. What about, Chris, your dad's advice growing up or that sticks with you? Because I feel like, people can have raw talent, then they can work hard, they could have, talent in sports, but you need to have a certain mental game to make it to that level, I feel. What were some of the advice or values you still think about from growing up, your mom and your dad?
Yeah, I remember one story where it still sticks out in my mind because it was so true. But we were always the best at everything. So we were best. We were the best baseball players, the best hockey players on our team, the whole deal. So it was one time that our other coach that was there, my dad coached us for most of our sports, but it was a baseball assistant coach, told us to go run around the pole. And so I ran, I touched it. I didn't actually run around it. And he told me I had to go back and do it again. And I said, no. And I said, I touched it, and I started complaining. So my dad sent me home, made me walk home. So at that point, I was like, what do I do? What happened? And so he sat me down and just said, why would you do that? This is somebody that you disrespected. He asked you to do it. You didn't do it. This is a connection you could have for the rest of your life. And this still is a guy to this day that we're actually going to a Syracuse game. He's the athletic director there. So connection we still have to this day that disrespected, 15 years ago. So he just really just, you could be the best, but if you're not working the hardest, hard work beats talent all the time, and don't burn a bridge was kind of his advice at that time. So cool story that I always think about.
Totally. Life is all about the connections and the people, for sure. So pre-Shark Tank, what does Ice Shaker look like?
Trash.
You have one product at the time.
Yeah.
What's going on in the company? And then because I know you prepped
Absolutely.
big time for Shark Tank. What did it look like before?
So I mean, it was one product, really basic model. I mean, we brought it in. There's really no features like it has today. No handle on it. No kind of really. It was called Ice Shaker because you had to put ice in it to actually shake it and mix the other stuff with it. So we were kind of trying to get away with, instead of having like some kind of agitator or something in it.
Did it have because what you have on top is a bit unique. Some of the shakers out there have a ball or something. And what I love about you is that you go after the competition. You're not just explaining what you do. There's videos out there of you taking yours and taking the competitors and breaking down, almost like you probably break down game tape. You break down feature by feature with these. Some people would shy away from that, Chris, right? There's like, I'm just going to talk about my product. I don't want to have the other product on screen. You went the opposite route with some of these videos if you check them out. And what sticks out to me is one of these videos where you're shaking the competitors and it's making this annoying loud noise, and you point that out.
Absolutely.
And then you shake yours. You know what I'm talking about. You shake yours and there's no noise. Did you always have, and it's almost, I don't know if you can show it, but it's almost kind of like in the lid, right, where it's the agitator is in the lid. Yeah,
so it actually twists onto it. Let me see if I can get it real quick. So you're going to have this agitator.
Yeah.
It will twist right off. So
it will, yeah.
You actually do it one-handed, but it will come right off. But it ended up being one of our best.
Was
features.
that in the first iteration on that? It wasn't.
No, it was not. So that wasn't really, the first model was very basic, really just a proof of concept is what we wanted. So didn't put a ton of time into it, didn't put a ton of research into the product, but really just wanted to make a shaker bottle that was insulated and was a kitchen grade stainless steel and see if anyone bought it. So that was really the goal, the very first one.
Like a proof of concept.
Absolutely.
I mean, you sort of already had that with, everything decorated because you had sold a bunch of them. So this is almost like the second generation of things that you definitely wanted in there, and then you improved it as time went on. So how are you selling that one at the time, pre-Shark Tank? Was it through Everything Decorated? Do you have your own site?
So we built out our own site, but it was rough. I mean, it was something that I thought I'd bring in. I thought it was such an awesome product that it was immediately going to just sell. I was going to post it on my social, and people were just going to pick it up and say, wow, that's so cool, right? Complete opposite. So posted it, had this website that I thought was all right. Looking back on it, it was absolutely terrible. But it looked decent at the time. But we then had to start doing shows, really, to get people to put in people's hands, put in front of people, really show them what the difference was between our bottle and just a normal plastic bottle or anything else that was on the market, because our bottle actually looks similar to other metal bottles that were out there at the time that weren't insulated. So a lot of people were saying, hey,
at first glance, it looks the same.
Exactly. And people were saying, hey, I've seen this at GNC. I tried it. It's terrible. The metal actually gets so cold because it's not insulated. Metal's a conductor that, it sweats everywhere. And so we had to just go out there and really explain to people that this is completely different. It's insulated. It's double wall. It's vacuum insulated. And, once we started doing that, people started to get it. But another big factor for us was using someone else's network, kind of like we did with Everything Decorated and starting it on Etsy. We used Amazon instead to use their customer base and to use, their power to really market our product and get people to buy it first and get reviews.
So you went on Amazon early on?
Absolutely, yeah. I think in the first 6 months, I think about 40% of our sales were from Amazon, and the rest of them were mostly coming from doing trade shows and events.
Yeah, a lot of hustle there.
Absolutely, yeah. It was really planned out. Knew I had a great chance of getting on Shark Tank within the first 6 months, and knew that would take me to a new level and give me exposure. And so we really tried to do every single show that we could do in those first 6 months.
You don't want to show up with what's your sales, right? They ask the question.
First question that was coming, and really my goal was in the first 6 months was to have at least $50,000 in sales. So when I walked on the Shark Tank with $80,000, I was actually pretty excited about that number.
Mm-hmm. So talk about them prep for Shark Tank. You're an athlete. You're not going to show up untrained. What do you do to prep for this?
Absolutely. I had been a huge fan of the show, so I've seen it. I've seen most of the questions, but it was just going back, and I just bought every episode, and I sat there and wrote down every single question that they've ever asked over the previous 8 seasons, and I had an answer prepared for it. So if I was asked that question, I knew exactly how to answer it with confidence, and I had my wife and my family would ask me the question themselves as well, and I'd answer it for them. And so it was nonstop practice, so that by the time I got up on the stage, it was to the point where I was so versed and I was so comfortable with everything that I really wasn't that nervous.
Yeah. So on the show, what do we not see?
Oh man!
Because I'm sure how long was your actual pitch and session?
So we're probably in there for 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. And what they show maybe a couple minutes, if that.
They show the best 8 minutes, I think it was, of the entire thing. So yeah, what you don't see is a breakdown of my entire history, where I went to school, my degrees, everything I did in the NFL afterwards, all that. They just drilled me on that. Everything from even why I didn't go to school. I had an opportunity to go to the Ivy League out of high school, and why I didn't do that. So just all kinds of crazy. They dug deep to the point where they knew everything about me as a person by the time I left that room, and everything about the business as well. So they didn't show any of that. They went right to the flip cup and the exciting parts, and other things like that. But that, and then I think one other thing that I guess surprised me was when I got drilled about why it wasn't called the Gronk Shaker. And that was,
I think Lori wanted it to be called that, right?
Lori and even Mr. Wonderful, which kind of threw me off track because it was one question that I didn't see coming. Because to me, they were these marketing experts, and they knew everything. And I've seen over and over and over again where a person or a company would put Gronk on something, and it would do really well in the Northeast, but it significantly limited your market. Because someone that wasn't a New England fan or someone that was a Bills fan or a Jets fan would not buy that product. Even if they liked the product, they wouldn't buy it just because of the name on it. So,
I mean, heck, you're a Bills fan too, sort of, right? I mean, so
yeah, you're born and raised.
Yeah,
but it just threw me off that they came to a point where they actually said that they wouldn't buy into the company unless I changed the name.
Wow,
so that's probably the most shocking aspect of being on Shark Tank.
So, but you solved that by doing limited edition, doing different editions.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So we came right out with the Gronk edition, and made a limited edition bottle, and it took care of that problem. So anyone who did want the name on it, they were able to have the name without then pigeonholing us to just one market.
So when you went in, you got the deal with Mark Cuban and Alex Rodriguez. Anything working with them or on the show, that those two people, did you go in thinking, okay, I want certain sharks, or did you go in just kind of open-minded, we'll just see what happens?
A little bit of both, but I definitely wanted Mark, being a Dallas guy and being right here, and then everything I could find and I could research about him. Everyone said they loved working with him. He's a great partner. He really cares about his investment. So I definitely wanted Mark, and plus the NBA connection and the sports background, and the product being in the fitness / sports category. I thought he was a really good fit, and so really the wild card was Alex. Really no idea what he was doing. Really had no idea what A-Rod Corp was, and he never been on Shark Tank, so there's no track history of him working with other companies. So there was really nothing I could find about him to see if he'd be a good fit in business. So that was really walking in and saying, hey, we'll see what happens. And he put on a good presentation and threw out, facts that he had connection to 1,000 gyms and 1 million members and all that stuff. So he really sold me on the show.
So I want to talk about post Shark Tank, but what's some of the advice, great advice that you've gotten from Mark Cuban, and then what's some of the great advice you've gotten from Alex Rodriguez with working with them?
Yeah, what Mark does is, and it's pretty understandable that he's a billionaire, so he's invested $75,000 into the company. At any time, if I email him, he'll get back to me within 15 minutes. But overall, I talked to he has a great team built out of multiple guys that he has over 100 Shark Tank companies, so he has to have people in place to really help us and take care of us and make those connections. So he's been absolutely awesome with the support that he's given us through the teams and the connections. And it's not just his team. It's also, the other 100 companies that I now have access to and can ask questions to. And really, if I'm stuck on something or if there's someone I'm trying to work with that I'm not too sure about, usually there's another company that's already been there, done that. So able to use those connections to really get in the door. So that's been absolutely huge from that standpoint. Any
tough advice that him or his team has given you that maybe was hard to hear but ended up being, good advice for you?
Man, really, there hasn't been too much yet. For them, it's really, control your inventory, make sure you're not ordering too much. As great a product you think it is, you can't. We've seen a lot of companies get out of control with inventory, and they know we're growing fast, and they know we're bringing in a lot of product. So I think that was good advice, especially if I call them and say, hey, I got a big order coming. And they're like, well, you just had a big order coming last week. Why are you dumping so much money into inventory unless, you already had that PO? So really good advice. And it's true. I mean, you want to keep on building as big and as fast as you can, but you run out of cash if you don't control what you're doing.
It's a physical products problem. The more you sell, the more you have to order, the more you have to pay for the product.
Yep.
What about Alex Rodriguez and his team?
So Alex, completely different situation. So he's never been on Shark Tank. I think we were his first investment, maybe his only still to this point. Not 100% sure on that, but he really never dealt with physical products. So he wasn't someone that
he's got fitness facilities all over.
Yep. Yeah. So his main thing was just the connections and and the facility. So getting us into UFCs and also his ability to promote is absolutely invaluable. So if he's out there, he has the bottle in the hands of Big Papi during the World Series, and they're all filming in the back room.
I saw a picture of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something that you can't put a price on, and that's absolutely huge for us.
Now, post Shark Tank, I mentioned in the front of the interview, thousands of locations, UFC gyms. Take us to the present.
Yeah, so we're in 3,500 GNCs. So we had that PO come through in November. They've ordered. We're on our third PO now, so we're still trying to fill that. We're just lead times have been an issue trying to get product here fast enough. We got into the UFCs as well after the update. So Alex did get us into those gyms as well. So we're spread out on those throughout the U.S. as well. Just working on really trying to hit more retail, getting more eyeballs on the product. But we're in a comfortable position where we don't really have to push that hard. So as it comes, it comes.
So you mentioned there's now over 80 SKUs. What are some of the most popular?
Yeah, we just recently we came out with the full color bottles. So we launched in 11 colors. Just redesigned the lid, put a new handle on it, new agitator on it, new pop top. So any issues that we had, we fixed. And I think that's what a lot of people love about the company is that when they do suggest something, we're actually doing it. So, and we're doing it quick. I mean, it's quick turnaround where we're 2 years in. We've changed the bottle 3 times already. So it's on its 3rd edition, and every time it gets better, and every time we put something out, people say, thank you so much. This is why we love you. This is why I continue to keep on buying. But our best sellers are definitely, our flagship products, the 26-ounce shaker bottle. And why people love it is because at first they think of it as a gym cup, but when they actually start using it, they say, man, I can use this for literally everything. I came into it thinking I was going to bring it to the gym. I don't leave home without it. It's a water bottle. It's a fruit infuser. It's a protein shaker. And I was even partying at my son's second birthday, and it was filled with liquor. So, and what's great about it is you could wake up the next day, rinse it with water, and go to the gym, and you're not even going to smell the liquor, which is incredible. But so the 26 ounce has always been good, but we were able to come in with just a tumbler, and we were really missing. Yeah,
I'm looking. You see me looking over here because I'm looking at your site and scrolling through. You have a wine tumbler here.
Even the
back to your roots from Everything Decorated.
Yeah, so the skinny tumbler was a really hot product with Everything Decorated, the wedding industry, and kind of like a bridesmaid bachelorette party kind of gift. And so we brought that in to test it because what we were missing out on was we had a lot of women coming to the site and buying the shaker, but they were buying it for their husbands or their kids, their grandkids, but they weren't buying anything for themselves. So we came in with the tumbler. We put it in exclusive patterns and colors that no one else had, that people really liked and were really popular, and they became an absolutely huge hit for us as well. Ended up branching that into even a smaller version for kids. Came out with the wine cup, came out with champagne flute. So we really wanted to cover every demographic, and we really have that now. And almost have, I think we're pretty much have a full line, but we do have another product hitting in the next 2 weeks that I'm pretty excited about.
Something you could chat about, or you have to wait?
Yeah, I have it. I think I have it downstairs, but no, it's a 36 ounce. So it's a shaker bottle. It's a bigger version of it. We're getting asked a lot by people that, like a truck driver who needs, a bigger bottle for work all day, but actually still fits into a cup holder.
Right.
They're looking for something. Hey, I drive all day long. I can't find a big size bottle that fits in the cup holder. That's easy to open, easy to drink from. So any chance you guys are making a bigger one, or just the guy who's going to the gym and living a healthy lifestyle and is trying to drink a gallon of water minimum a day.
Right.
The small bottle, they're filling it up 10 times a day. We break out the new one, and you only have to fill it up. I think it's 5 times, and you're drinking over a gallon now. So, I think actually 4 times. So you're drinking a gallon with just 4 refills, and really that's the goal for most people that are trying to live a healthy lifestyle, is to drink at least a gallon of water a day.
Totally. Chris, first of all, thank you. Everyone should check out iceshaker.com. I have one last question I always ask, since it's Inspired Insider. But where else should people check out online?
Yeah, so we're on Amazon, of course. We are a website. Definitely, you're going to see all of our product, our full product line. You're going to get the best customer service. You're actually able to personalize each and every bottle on our website. Drives a lot of people to the site as well, but we'll do customized logos, just one-offs. People ask us all the time, how many do I have to order if I want to put my own, custom logo on it for my business? Just one, which
That's
also
awesome.
is a huge separator for us as well, because you can't find that anywhere else. And like I was saying before, my Everything Decorated roots came into this, and we try to give everything out same day as well. So if you do order a custom bottle, it's usually being shipped within a day or two, unless it's a big holiday or something like that, like a Valentine's Day.
Right.
We got a little behind, but the service there, the ability to personalize how you want it done has just been something that people absolutely love as well. So definitely check out the website if you want to see our full line and our full capabilities.
So go to iceshaker.com. We'll link it up. Chris, the last question I always ask, since it's Inspired Insider, what's been the low moment, tough point that you had to push through? And then on the flip side, what's been a proud moment for you? It could be in business, it could be in sports, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I told this story last night. I was at an entrepreneurship meeting, I guess, and I was on a panel for them. But they asked what was kind of like the lowest point. It actually came, besides the fact that I had to trash 5,000 of our first 10,000 bottles from my shaker and go through all the pop tops and do all that. I think my first learning lesson and my biggest lesson I think I learned in business was with Everything Decorated, and it came by means of the website and building through Etsy. And the problem was that we were 100% dependent on somebody else's platform.
Right.
Ended up being the biggest mistake that we could have done. But we got just realized that we were doing so well that we thought we didn't have to branch out. And so we put all our eggs in one basket.
Gets you comfortable.
We were super comfortable. We got complacent with it, and we paid the price for it. When they went public, they changed the rules. The 5 shops I was talking about earlier that got us on the front page, they then came out and said, hey, you have to completely get rid of 2 of them. So all that work I did, all the stuff I did to build that up, this shop was one of our biggest ones, had to be completely cut. So
wow.
A third of our profit, of our revenue, completely just out the window from that. And then later on, we actually got shut down for 5 days, 100% shut down for glitch in their system or whatever they said it was. But for those 5 days, we had employees at the time. We had nothing coming in, and that was kind of a turning point for us. Where I said that those 5 days, all I did was build a website, and I tried to build the best website I could in those 5 days. And since then, we ended up now selling more on our website than we do through all those Etsy shops. So it's a huge, biggest low that ended up being a huge learning lesson for us that is now a positive for us, and now we control our own destiny. So
totally.
If they want to shut our Etsy shops down, that's fine with us. We can always survive now and are thriving on our own without depending on anyone else. And that was a quick learning lesson that we had with Ice Shaker as well, because I knew I had to build it at first on Amazon, but I knew that once it got to the point where I could pull it off and could get a customer base, I had to. And so we now sell a lot. We've always sold a lot more through our website, but it was because I knew not to become dependent on Amazon, where I have absolutely no control of their algorithm, or if they want to shut me down or if they change their shipping policies, any of that I can't control, whereas now I can with what I built.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for sharing that. That's a huge lesson. It's sometimes hard to learn, because when you're comfortable and sales are coming in, you're like, I don't need to do this other work. Why do extra work? But it's worth it to protect yourself. What about proud moment?
Man, proud moment. Yeah, for sure. I think proudest moment with Ice Shaker, in the same week we locked up, the big PO with GNC for 3,500 stores. And at the same time, we had this big purchase order come in from Avocare. And they wanted to use our product to help promote their brand and give it away as a free gift in their 2019 Slim and Trim package.
That's amazing.
Just massive purchase order that came in, and really was that point where it was like, hey, we have something here that people want and that they see value in. I think that week was just an absolute home run for us.
Totally. Thanks, Chris. Everyone check out iceshaker.com, and I want to be the first one. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like $100 grand.